Hello, and welcome to the Powder Room, where we discover the message within our messes. I am your host, Ivy Ashley. Today's episode is the first installment of our Dating for Dummies series, and we are kicking things off with talking about online dating. Now, I know I'm probably going to date myself with this, but it's okay. So, back in the late 1980s, there were these whole series of books called For Dummies. And the purpose of these books was to make complex or intimidating topics easy to understand for the average person. And that is what I want to do with this Dating for Dummies series that we are starting on today, because as we all know, dating period can be challenging, it can be frustrating, and it can definitely be complex. But my hope is that you will receive some tips that will help you navigate this mechanism without any stress at all. So how about it? Let's go ahead and get things rolling. So why should you try online dating? And with a lot of the things that I talk about, I don't talk about anything really that I don't know or have some type of knowledge of, because if I did, what would be the point, right? So, why online dating? Now, I know for those of us who have a little bit more candles on our birthday cake, or, we are a little more seasoned, this thought of online dating seems to be so taboo, so unreachable. It's just like totally out, of our wheelhouse. And I like to say probably because, we are the salt and pepper generation. And I don't mean that salt and pepper hair. I mean, we grew up back in a time where, our grandparents and our mothers, when they cooked food, they seasoned with salt and pepper. We didn't know anything about Lowry's, until much later on. And so dating, or what we think of dating, is you're out and about, a guy sees you, he approaches you, and things get on and popping from there. So that's the salt and pepper, the way that we're accustomed to, how we were raised, what we grew up in, what we're accustomed to. And I like to say that Lowry's is online dating. So it may not be what we were accustomed to, but it's just another mechanism, another venue to get the same job done. So look at it that way. So why should you try online dating? Because the dating landscape has totally shifted. And it has shifted to the point where, with pliable options, and then if you are, just waiting on somebody to approach you, ladies, you may be waiting for a very, very, very long time. You may be waiting for a very long time. And I so hate it, because the positives of online dating is also the negative of online dating. I mean, it makes people more accessible. It gives us access to a widening dating pool. It also gives us control over the space. But at the same time, those very same things make it difficult. Because of the accessibility of online dating, you will run into people who are not, or who do not have the same mindset, because there is a wider dating pool. You will find people who are on this online dating for a myriad of reasons, and the difficulty is wading through that pee in the pool, that we talked about several weeks ago, in order to find a candidate that meets up with your morals, your values, and your goals in this whole process. So it is something to, get through. You do have to get through the mud, to get to, what you desire. But if you are consistent and if you are serious about finding someone, I know many people who have found love on dating sites and who are happily married today. And as much as we don't want to admit it, men are not approaching women on the street anymore. I mean, they do, but it's not like it was in the 1980s and 1990s. Men are approaching women like that. And I think social media is the blame for it, honestly. It has gotten people to the place where they're not as confident in themselves. It has gotten people to the place where they're hiding behind a computer screen instead of, walking up to people and having conversations. And even that in itself, people don't know how to communicate with people, you know, face to face anymore. So social media, as good as a medium as it has hampered communication. So again, online dating is just a tool. It is not a shortcut. You will still have to do the work if you want to find a pliable candidate. And let me say this to all of my believers. Can we please stop over spiritualizing dating in 2025? Can we please? And I'm specifically talking about my I'm waiting on God folk. Okay, listen. I know it sounds real, real good in theory that I'm just waiting on the Lord to send me my mate. But dear ma'ams and dear sirs, God is not dropping husbands and wives from heaven. And I think we have to get out of this mindset that waiting is doing absolutely nothing. When we say that we are waiting on God, it should mean that we are remaining in a state of readiness for the purpose of whatever it is that we are waiting for. So, for example, if I said, I am waiting on the bus, but I am sitting at home, the bus is never going to come to me at my house. If I am going to catch the bus, I need to be in the right place, in the right position to catch it. So that means I need to take my hind parts, get out of my house, and walk down the street to the bus stop in order to wait on what I anticipate coming to pick me up. Y'all, that is some good stuff. And thank you, Holy Spirit, for that revelation as I speak. We need to stop waiting on God and doing absolutely nothing, honey. Please. You are setting yourself up for disaster. What are you doing while you are waiting? Waiting will take some action from you. We're waiting on God for things, and He's waiting on us to do what He's already said. So please stop over spiritualizing, not just spiritualizing, sorry, stop just over spiritualizing dating, but anything else in your life that you say you are waiting on God for, because you've been waiting 5 years and nothing has transpired. And I'm sorry, it does not take God that long to move. in certain areas in our life, maybe he may have us in a state of waiting or, before certain things manifest. But I believe some of us have stayed waiting too long because we did not do what we were supposed to do when we were supposed to do it. Okay. I got a little excited. My words probably got a little tongue tied, whatever. You got what I'm saying today. Stop over spiritualizing dating and that whole process because it takes some work in order for you to receive the results that you want to receive. So even if you never try online dating, you will have to get out of your own way in order to see things happen in your life. All right? That's some good stuff, y'all. So, the next thing I want to talk to you about today are some common terms that are used in the dating arena because I don't want you to be unlearned in these dating streets. So, I need to peep you on game so you'll know when people say certain terms that you'll know, what they are talking about. And that brings me to the first term is talking. So when you are talking to someone, it's like that intro period, the getting to know you stage. It's where you're getting the foundational information that you need to weed out folks quick. So this is the time where you want to identify your major deal breakers. Like I've said on several occasions, the number one breaker for me is, does he have a relationship with God? If he does not, then we cannot go any further. And if I am on an app, that's one of the first things that I will peep out is on the profile if he says anything about God. Sometimes if you've been on a dating profile before, it'll ask you, what religion are you? And it means what denomination really. So he may say Baptist, he may say, Buddhism, he may say Muslim, whatever he says. I look at that and I still, depending on what it is, I may, initiate contact or read the profile of someone who's reached out to me. And if they have that, it's not necessarily a, you know, initial deal breaker. I want to peep more information, especially if it says spiritual. And I believe I've already, talked about my thoughts about that. So get to know more information and identify your major deal breakers. So relationship with God for me, how many kids he has, so what are the ages of those kids, what is the baby mom or baby dad, are they involved, how's your relationship with them, um and honestly people tend to talk about those things pretty quickly when you meet them because it is a part of their daily life. Also, if a person smokes or drinks, smoking is, you know, definitely a deal breaker. I cannot stand cigarette smoke. I don't mind necessarily cigars, but you can't be, a chain smoker in no instance. Also, during the talking stages, you will notice that people can talk to multiple people at the same time. This is not uncommon. This is just the talking stages. There is no commitment. So if people want to talk to multiple people at the same time, that is totally fine. For me, I don't have the bandwidth to talk to several people at once because I will mix up conversations and I will say, "Oh, you remember when you told me XYZ?" And he may say, "No, that I didn't tell you that." And I'm like, "Oh Lord, I didn't, mixed up conversations." Mm-mm. I don't have the bandwidth or time. So my philosophy is, get to know them and weed them out quick and move on to the next one. Yeah, it sounds like, you know, you're on an assembly line, but hey, it makes no sense to form an emotional attachment with somebody that you have absolutely nothing in common with. And you don't have to be spiritual in order to determine that, honestly. All right, so that's the talking stages. The next one is situationships. And it is a situation. And trust me, that is not a ship that you want to be in. I have, myself allowed myself to be in situationships before, and there are things that is they're not going to be good for you from the beginning, but sometimes we compromise because we want company, and it's not worth it. So situationships, there's unclear boundaries, and it's defined as somewhere in between friends and partners, but you have absolutely no commitment. Okay. They'll string you along to keep you around to get what they can get from you. Most of the times there is sex involved in those relationships, sex with no commitment. Some people, you will find that some people on dating websites and dating period, that's what they want, and they will tell you up front, hey, I'm not looking for anything serious. I just want to date, I just want to have fun, I just want somebody to go out with. Listen to what people are telling you. Don't try to form an emotional attachment to these people and shift their mindset, because for the most part they are set in their ways. If somebody tells you that they don't want to date or they don't want a commitment, believe them. And I find this, when people are separated and they are not, divorced yet. And I stay away from those. If I see somebody's status as separated, then I go on to the next one. Because for me, you are still married, and I am not dating anybody who is still married. If you are separated, you are not divorced, dear hearts. So, I don't even want that trouble. So that's a situationship. The next one is courting or dating. And courting or dating is an intentional connection. And this is where you really start collecting the data. So during the talking stages, you're trying to weed out, the people who you already know there's no compatibility with. It's those basic things, how they live their day-to-day life, and you're trying to figure out, will how they live mesh with the way that you live. So those things, like I said, you can weed those out very, very quickly. When you begin to court or date someone, it's an intentional connection, and you're getting down to the deeper levels of a person to try to find out, if there is sustainable compatibility. You're going out, you're seeing how he or she responds in different environments, definitely one-on-one situations, but there's not necessarily a commitment yet. If you are courting me, then I expect that I'm the only one that you are courting, because we're past talking. It's not casual anymore. We are moving towards possibly being in a committed relationship. And then the lastly is exclusively dating. And this is where you're off the apps, you're not seeing anyone else. You are totally focused on one person, and you're building, possibly building a life together or moving in that direction. Now, I would like to say my whole purpose in going over these terms were just to give you an idea of what they mean and what to look to and look for. But don't get caught up in this lingo, because ultimately you have to communicate with people in order to find out where their head is. Because, for some people, talking can mean, I'm just talking to you and I'm not talking to anybody else. And, I don't want you talking to anybody else. And I've had that happen, especially from some of the older men. When they start talking to you, they don't want you talking to anybody else. And I'm like, sir, I can't promise you that, because I don't even know if I like you yet. So I'm not going to give you total access to me, and I don't know if you are for me. And I've had men to say, well, that doesn't align up with, what I want at this time. So, thanks, but no thanks. And that's totally fine. But I've been in situations before where, I totally focused on one person, and 6 months down the down the line, I realized that this was not going to work. So that's why my philosophy is now I still talk to one person at a time, but I get rid of them quick. Yes, I get rid of your behind quick when you start acting crazy and when you start showing me, things that don't align with my goals and my expectations. Uh-uh. I'm not waiting to see. Well, I'm gonna give them some time. Listen, I'm 50 years old. I ain't got time to be waiting and seeing. And especially at this age, people are who they are. So, there's really, changing certain things about people. So when you think about, is this something that I want to deal with or I can live the rest of my life with? Nope. On to the next. Okay. So don't get caught up in the lingo and the jargon that I've used, but just make sure that whoever you are communicating with, that you are actually communicating and seeing what they mean when they say certain things, and don't get caught up in, these words. Well, there is absolutely no way we can talk about dating online without talking about actual dating websites. And there are a plethora of options. It just depends on, what it is that you're looking for and what you want. But, I go back to the time of MySpace and Black Planet. Um, so I have, dealt with, online dating sites for a very long time, and I have tried a lot of them. Um, and so there are many, 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 many options. So you just have to kind of do your research. So I'm gonna just go over a few of them, and especially the ones that I've tried and some I got from research that I've done. And so, of course, some of you may have heard of Match.com, and it is known for or recommended for those who want a long-term relationship, and it is specifically geared towards those 35 plus. It's extremely detailed, and this profiles are a bit more serious. Also, eHarmony, I believe that that one is supposed to be more Christian based. It has a deep compatibility matching and ideal for serious daters. Now, those two, in order for you to really get anything out of it, I believe you have to make an investment with your time in completing out the assessments, because it asks a lot of questions. And so if you don't want to, take an assessment or in order to even have access to the daters, then those websites are probably not for you. But for those who may be a bit more seasoned and don't mind taking the time and filling out the profile, filling out the assessments, answering all the compatibility questions, then those sites may be for you. And then the more recent ones, like Hinge and Bumble, they did not work for me. I would think that from my experience that they're a bit more for the younger crowd. And I would say millennials and younger. And so Hinge is designed to be deleted. They give you great prompts, to help you get started. Also, Bumble is where women initiate communication with men. Um, and they also say that that's great for dating with intention. But I didn't like either one of those websites. I just felt like, I don't know, I kind of felt like a piece of meat. on both of those websites. And I can't even really tell you why. I guess it was the setup of how it was set up and, all the swiping left and swiping right. And it just wasn't my cup of tea. But hey, I'm not knocking it because you may get on it and enjoy it. So try it out. I think one of the easiest um dating sites to try is Facebook dating. So if you have a Facebook account, you have access to Facebook dating. It's familiar, it's easy to use, it's extremely low pressure. It takes information, from your, profile and inserts it into, your dating profile. And of course, you can decide what you want to show and what you don't want to show. And it's very, 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 very simple. They even have a section if you want to just connect with people as friends, you can do that. Um, and I'll get in some more tips about actually setting up profiles and things. But those are some of the websites. There's also, let me mention, Silver Singles and Our Time, which is designed specifically for those who are in the over 50 crowd. So there are a lot of dating websites. I've only named a few, but when it comes to you, choose an app that matches your goals and not just your age group. So whatever it is that you want to accomplish, if you just want to, meet people to go out, if you really want a sustainable relationship, if that is your goal, then there is a dating app that will align with what it is you want to accomplish in your dating life. Okay. Now, I think the most important part of our discussion is what I'm about to get into now, which is the online dating do's and don'ts. So these are just tips that I have learned in my experience of dating. I would say 85 or even 90% of what I'm about to share with you are things that I've learned myself or things that, people have shared with me. So I may know a little bit something about this topic. So let's get into these do's first. So when it comes to your dating profile, first thing is first, use honest and recent photos of yourself. Listen, this is such a pet peeve of mine. I've seen men, let me just say men. I've seen men, and so I'm sure women, do it too, but I'm not looking at women profiles. I'm looking at men profiles. I have seen some profiles where a man will put up his ROTC picture from 1996. Sir, you are not in the ROTC anymore. You have a salt and pepper beard. You are bald. Your front tooth is missing. Can you please put a recent photo so when I see you in person, I am not shocked at what I'm seeing and presented in front of me, please. So please put a recent photo of yourself. I don't want to see a picture of your dog. I don't want to see a picture of your kids, not in your profile picture, sir. This is about you, sirs and ma'am. This is about you. I don't want pictures with you in the club holding drinks. All of that is a turnoff to me, especially the club pictures holding drinks. Okay, so you telling me that you like to go out. So it's like, you're showing me, what it's going to be like being with you without even having a conversation first. So please be mindful of the photos that you use on your profile. Also, for your bio, make it short, relatable, and it should reflect your personality. I am not reading 3, 4 paragraph bios. Listen, save something for the conversation. And we all have access to Chat GPT now, and it is a time saver. You give it a little bit of information, say, hey, I'm trying to create my profile, my dating profile. This is what I want to say, make it fun. And I'm telling you, Chat GPT will perform a miracle on your behalf. So you don't even have to really write your profile anymore. So come on, short, relatable bios that reflect your personality. Also, do be open to the process. Be open to the process. Don't go into it thinking negatively. All men are dolls. There are no good men left. I'm never going to find anyone. Your speech and your mindset has already turned the experience into a disaster before it ever got started because your words have sabotaged you. So be open to the process and remember every day is not a potential mate. So just because you're going out and you're meeting up with somebody, don't go looking for the wedding dress yet. You don't even know him. Okay? Just date. Just have fun. Just meet up. Also, for every one person on a dating website that's looking for love, there are 20 at least who are not. That's the hard reality. When you get into this dating pool, whether you meet them at a conference or meet them online, not everybody is on there for dating. Yes, it's a dating website, but not everybody is on the website for dating. Your focus is to find out who is and who is not. Another thing, you will learn a lot about yourself as you date, and even more so when you begin to go through the stages of dating and ultimately get into a relationship. You will learn so much about yourself. You will learn if you're really healed in certain areas. You will learn things that trigger you. You will learn things that you thought you were okay with, but they are deal breakers. So just be open to the entire process. Be open to what you learn about other people. And most importantly, be open to what you learn about yourself. The next do, be intentional. What's your why? Why are you on the website? What do you want out of this experience? With anything, you should always have a goal in mind because if you don't, you will go in adjusting to what other people are expecting of you. So be intentional. Know your why. Know what you want. The next do, be realistic in your expectations of other people. Now, I'm going to tell you that a lot of people, women, have expectations of men who don't even know them, especially when it comes to dating and going out. I personally have no issues with coffee meetups, but I have heard of women who refuse coffee dates, ice cream dates, park dates because the man isn't spending money on them. What? So is this about somebody spending money on you, somebody buying you a crab bag? Girl, you was eating before you met this man. So now all of a sudden you can't feed yourself because you're dating. Come on. Again, what's your agenda? What is your agenda? And if you are having to weed through, multiple people to get to someone, that want to date, that expectation of men is totally bogus. That's why I am all for, spending time communicating on the phone and getting to know somebody first just to see if there's a real interest before anybody starts spending money. So be careful of the expectations that you have on people that you just met. Also, and I kind of alluded to this before, you will not be the only one that he is dating. The field is open. So just like you're looking, other women are looking too. And that's just the way it is. And that's the case whether you meet online or whether you meet at the corner store at the gas station. You will not be the only one until he finds a reason to make you the only one. Okay? So with that, if you choose to communicate with multiple people, then do that. But let me carve out this because people get confused. So I have to make sure that we're on the same page. I'm not telling you to go out and screw multiple people. That's not what I'm saying. Get to know multiple people at a time if that's what you choose to do, and be clear that that is what you're doing. If you're being honest in your dating life, you don't have to hide anything. Okay. If that's what you choose to do, then do that. So those are my do's. Make sure you have honest, recent photos and bio. Be honest, be open to the process, be intentional, and also be realistic. Now let's get into these don'ts. The first one, don't text forever. I know me, I can be super impatient. And so after a few days, honestly, maybe a week of texting back and forth, I'm ready to have a conversation because I need to know who it is that I've been communicating with. And I know some people, are very, apprehensive about, giving people, their phone number, but you really shouldn't these days. I mean, if it's an issue, you can get a free Google number. If you decide that it's not going to work, you can always block them. So, I mean, why not give them your real number? Okay. Get on the phone, get on FaceTime or some type of video chat because I need to see who you are and what you look like. And I'll be looking in the background to see if your house is nasty. Listen, I take clues for every area. Show me your house. Oh, that's your living room. Oh, okay. Yes, I'm looking because I'm trying to pick up clues about you and the way that you live. So FaceTime video chat me. I'm ready. After a week, 2 weeks. Yes, absolutely. So don't spend time back and forth texting forever. Again, remember, if you take my philosophy, we are, talking to people, meeting them and weeding them out quick, finding out if there's a commonality, if they have any of those major deal breakers pretty quickly so you don't have to waste your time getting to know somebody that you will ultimately have no interest in, or it will not be a good match. The next don't assume anything. And you know what they say about assuming, you make a out of you, not me. So don't assume anything. Ask questions. Be clear about what you want. Dating is something that you cannot be timid about because this is somebody that you're considering spending the rest of your life with if that's your goal. So you can't be timid in getting to the information that you need in order to make a conscious decision. Okay? Be very clear about what it is that you want and don't waver based on what someone else is offering you. Your goals should be your goals. Your values should be your values. Your morals should be your morals. Stand firm in who you are and what you want. Trust me. Also, and not assuming anything. You want to listen to what somebody says, listen to what he or she says, but always pay attention to what he or she does because those actions will outweigh those words any day. Okay? All right. The next don't is don't be naive. Again, I've already said that agendas are different in these dating streets, in this dating pool. You have to determine what your agenda, what your agenda is, match it up with their agenda and see if there's alignment. If he says he's not ready for a relationship, believe him and move on. All right, make sure you set your boundaries. I don't know what this is. People have first dates in their house and apartments. No, sir, and no, ma'am. No house, no apartment dates. No. With somebody you don't know? Absolutely not. There was a scenario that happened sometime last year where a young lady went on a date with a guy and ended up back at his house on the first date. And let's just say she's no longer with us. He ended up brutally murdering her. So please set your boundaries. Don't go to nobody's house or apartment on a first date. Heck, just be wise. It should be a minute before you visit somebody's house. And with that, do not ignore your instincts. If something appears to be wrong, it probably is. Go with your instinct. For my believers, listen to the Holy Spirit. Listen to your Holy Spirit. That inner voice may save your life. So do not ignore your instincts. And the last don't is don't give away too much too soon. And that could be in the form of information, your body, access to you, or your location. Again, be wise in your movement. Anytime I meet somebody for the first time, I always let a couple friends know where I am, what I'm doing, and who I'm doing it with. I share my location with them. I send them addresses. I send them pictures, names, everything. But because you can never be too safe. I have them text me, you good? You need anything? You need me to pull up? Yeah, those are the type of girlfriends I have in my life. And those are the types of girlfriends and guy friends you need in your life. Somebody who is willing to pull up at any point in time, just in case something goes down. Listen, my niece and my sister have my location ongoing. My two closest girlfriends or three closest girlfriends where I'm living now, they have my location all the time. So I'm not living no secret life. I want people to know, who I am. Not who I am, but where I am. Yeah. I want people to know where I am at all times. I'm a single woman, so that's just being wise in how I move. And yes, I have the Holy Spirit and God protecting me, and He has His angels dispatched, standing at my doorpost, watching, for me. But also, in addition to that, I have people looking out for me as well, and that's just wise. So don't give away too much information too soon because people will use that same information if their motives are not good. Will use that same information against you. So be wise. Well, look at that. We have come to the end of another episode. Oh my goodness. I hope that you guys have thoroughly enjoyed the information that I have shared today. But before I leave, as always, let's talk about the mess and the message in today's episode. So, the mess. Online dating does not have to be complicated. It's just a way to meet people. However, it can be exhausting and frustrating when it appears that there are no viable options. Here's the message. Your success will be in your approach. Online dating is only a mechanism that provides access to a sea of options. But every option is not an eligible candidate. You have to weed through the pee in the pool in order to find the gems that sometimes run a little deep. So, my call to action for you today is to select one dating app and create a free account and just window shop. Don't let fear and apprehension keep you from finding your forever, okay? Listen, guys, I want to hear from you. I want you to share your experiences, and I want you to reach out to me on social media at The Only Ivy Ashley on Instagram. Let me hear from you. DM me. You can email me at consultiva@gmail.com. I want your reviews. I want to hear your encouragements. I want to hear your constructive criticism. I just want to hear from you. If there's a topic that you want me to address, send that information to me as well. I am thoroughly enjoying doing this, and I appreciate you guys who are consistently listening to me and who are dialing in. Please stay tuned because I have some amazing things coming. And don't, as always, forget to tune in next week where we will continue this series on dating for dummies. And my topic will be preferences, must-haves, and list. Are your lists keeping you single? We will talk about it next week. Thank you again for joining me in the powder room where you are always welcome. Take care.